Well, I'm out on the revolt today for February. The weather is extremely mild, and for a change it's not raining, so that's a good thing. That's not to say I'll get home dry, but it's not raining at the moment. I feel like I need to start off today's video with an apology. I put up a video a couple of weeks ago which wasn't meant to be taken literally, suggesting that we should ban cars. Not even suggesting, just asking the question. But really, it was meant to be just sort of a counter-argument to all of those motorists who want to ban cyclists. I found it really quite surprising that people who drive motor vehicles feel that they are entitled to the road, or should I say, to have the road to themselves. What I was really suggesting is that, well, not suggesting, it was just a way of getting people to think, because our road transport is really struggling because the road network is inadequate and there's effectively too many vehicles on the road. There's reports of emergency vehicles struggling to get where they're going because there's too much traffic. Tradespeople in their vans struggle because there's too much traffic. They spend more of their time driving their van than they do mending the plumbing or whatever else they're doing. And these kind of things are all reasonably essential to our modern day life. One thing that's not absolutely essential to modern day life is a personal car, because there's buses, trains, all kinds of other systems. I know that's one of the big issues. Public transport's on its knees, but you know, if we could improve that. And as I said quite clearly in the video, I'm not actually suggesting we ban cars. It was just a statement to get people thinking, to counter the ban cycling rhetoric, pointing out that there's other road users who need the roads, and really just a little introduction to a discussion, you know. What I wasn't suggesting was that motor vehicles should be banned, or that cyclists should take priority over other vehicles, because obviously they shouldn't. You can't complain about motor cars thinking they own the road and then suggest that you should own it. That's just madness. What I'm suggesting is that we should all respect each other. We should all share the road. Cars, trucks, tractors, horses, buses, you name it. But clearly, I didn't do a very good job, because that's not the way it came across at all, apparently. Even though I thought that's what I'd clearly said, the first thing that happened was the comments started coming through. It was the usual suspects in the main. People, some of them were just straightforward insulting, and that you have to accept. Although it still surprises me, because I think to myself, well, why even ask someone? Why, if you're an anti-cyclist, do you spend your time on YouTube watching videos dedicated to cycling? And I think that is part of the problem. I think people on the internet seem to be just looking for things to argue about. So that was a surprise. And there was people ranting and calling me names, and people telling me that I was an idiot because I was riding on the road holding up cars and at the same time criticising cars, which if it came across like that, well, I'm afraid I got it wrong. It wasn't meant to. It was about us sharing the road. And as I said, I know the title was misleading, but that was just a sort of opening discussion, just a thing to get you into the discussion. If you watched the video, you would have known that that's not what I was suggesting ultimately. But yeah, there was the people claiming that I was on a child's toy and, you know, all the usual anti-cycling rhetoric. And then, I'm afraid, I started answering the comments and, well, I feel like I sort of lowered myself as I started to look at it and think, you know what, I'm getting involved in arguments here. And that's the reason I left Twitter, was because every discussion turned into a vile argument. And I felt a little taken aback at why this has caused so much reaction. It was really meant as a little light-hearted discussion among cycling people. And then somebody made a comment. And he said, nice clickbait title. And I did feel a little bit embarrassed because I had chosen a controversial title to draw people in to enter the discussion. But I was hoping that they would watch the whole video and comment on the things I'd actually said. But so many people thought that I was suggesting cyclists should take priority over all other road users. There were other people who seemed to think I was calling for a ban on all motorised vehicles. And someone even commented and said, good luck getting your goods to store on a bicycle if you ban cars. And I'm thinking, well, most companies take the goods to store by truck. I don't know of anybody that does it by car. So I got embarrassed because I realised that I had in fact got involved in a culture war, which the very thing I was complaining about. And I feel like the regular viewers of this channel don't really want to get involved in all of that. And so I apologise for that. I started this channel a way of talking about my cycling experiences and just the things I've learned and the things I've done and, you know, these kind of things, and just general day-to-day cycling topics. That's what we need to get back to, I think. I mean, I did think at the time I made the video, you know, close passes, people hooting at you and going places, you know, just socially. And having people criticise you for being a cyclist. I felt that was part of my experience. But it was something I was just hoping to talk about with other cyclists. And as I said, it's become a culture war and I want to stay out of that. And there is something about social media, I don't really know what it is, causes people to become argumentative. I think it's possibly because there's no face, you know. Things that you would have said down the pub in your head and not actually said out loud because you can't actually see the person you're talking to on social media. You say these things out loud or in text. And I've also come to the realisation that if a motorist hates cyclists, you're not going to change his mind, no matter how many facts you present. And in fact, I think sometimes the opposite is true. The more you point things out, the more they dig in. It is difficult, I know, because motorists feel like they're being battered from all sides now. High taxes, congestion charging, all these sorts of things. I get that it's probably a bit of a raw nerve, but the thing is, if they'd watched the video all the way through, that's exactly what I said. If you love cars, you should support any anti-car measure, because the more people that we can get out of cars and onto public transport, the less cars there'll be on the road, and then the less restrictions there'll be on car drivers. And the more you can encourage councils to improve cycling infrastructure, the more cyclists will use that rather than the roads. I'd rather be on a path like this, away from the cars. It really is the best way to cycle. But unfortunately, there's not enough of them. As I've mentioned before, painting a picture of a bicycle on the pavement, or if you're American, the sidewalk, doesn't make it a cycle path. Really, what I'd really like everybody to do is just respect each other. If I'm in my car and there's a tractor going down the road in front of me, sure, it's frustrating, but I know he's doing his job and he has every right to be there. Same with people riding horses. They may not be doing a job, but certainly got every right to be there. You back off and give them a bit of space. And I think that's pretty much what's going wrong with modern society. Is we've just lost respect. It's the age of the self. I think quite a lot of that is because of the internet, and don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting we ban the internet or anything stupid like that. But the fact is, we have far less human interaction than we used to. Order online, make a bank inquiry online, join a club online, talk to your friends online, and we just don't have the interaction that we used to. Well, we're going to have to learn to live with it, I suppose, because it's not going to change anytime soon. What a lovely day for cycling. You don't get many days like this in Britain in February. There's a weather warning. Apparently there's going to be torrential rain this afternoon, but hey, let's make the most of it while we can.